Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Vlog World. This is the last video of my interview experience series. In this interview experience series, I have shared my interview experience and I also spoke about the mistakes that I have done and what mistakes you guys could avoid in the interview. This is the last video where I will talk about my interview experience in Goldman Sachs, HP and Network Doctor. One thing I noticed in my previous videos, I have used the word so unnecessarily multiple times. In this video, I'm going to try to avoid using the word so. I'm trying to improve my communication and presentation skills. If you guys have suggestions to improve my communication and presentation skills, please do share them in the comment section. Please give constructive feedback. Please don't abuse me. What the, why the, don't say all those things. I just did that for fun, so please don't take that seriously. Now let's talk about the interview experience in HP. First, how I got this opportunity. If you are a master student, you know the biggest problem in being a master student is trying to find a job. So I applied for multiple companies. I did not get any response with HP. I reached out to a recruiter and she set up the interview for me. First of all, I am thankful for that. She gave me an opportunity. The first one was a HR round where she asked me bigger questions and she asked me about my experience. The round was done, and the second round was a live Zoom round with live coding. Apart from that, you have one manager round. There are 3 rounds. The offer will be released. I prepared a lot for the live coding round. I have assessed myself in the start back in 2017 how bad I was. Now I will rate myself again. I personally think my coding skills have improved and I am around 7.5 out of 10. My communication skills is around 7 out of 10 and my aptitude skills is around 8.5 or 9 out of 10. I have improved a lot. I personally feel that I am pretty good in coding now. I am pretty good in array, strings, linked list, queue. I am not comfortable with the dynamic programming and graphs. I am working on that, as well as I am trying to improve my system design skills as well. These are things I am doing right now. I solved multiple LeetCode problems before I went for a HP interview. On the day of interview, first the interviewer asked me, tell me about yourself. I talked about my experience. Then she asked me about Python, try expert and catch blocks. I explained that with an example and I talked about the exceptional cases. Then she asked me about APIs. Luckily in Nokia, I used Cassandra APIs to upload details in the database, so I explained about that. The answer was not pretty perfect, I feel, because she asked me how to test the APIs. We did a different process and she told that's not how the process is. That is one mistake I think I made in this interview. Then the live coding round started. The first question was to sum. I was inside my mind, I was like, yes, I got the question that I solved in LeetCode, and I told the approach to her and then I solved that question. Again, I told in the previous video that you have to communicate back a lot to the interviewer. Yeah, I repeated the same mistake. I was not doing that. I explained the approach. I went to the next question. Now she told me that the important aspect that she is looking for is, even though I solved one question, she wanted me to solve it properly. That is what she was expecting. So my focus was like, first question 10 minutes done, interview is 45 minutes. The next question she asked is again an array question where we have to remove the duplicates and we have to do that in place. This question is also a LeetCode question. I solved that question. I was feeling very lucky. What is the probability? I solved 60 plus LeetCode questions, and what is the probability of getting 2 questions out of that? I was very happy and I told the approach and I solved that question. Then she asked the third question. The third question was to balance the parenthesis. I was inside my mind, I was very, very happy. I was, oh, how lucky I am today. The God with lucky sitting near me. That's what I thought. Because 3 questions and all the 3 questions I have solved in LeetCode already. And she asked me at that point, do you solve LeetCode questions? I said, yes, I solve LeetCode questions. And I started to explain the approach for balancing the parentheses. I told the stack approach. She did not even ask me to code that approach. She told, yeah, the approach you told is correct, so I'm going to test you with another question. Then she asked me remove nth node from linked list. I solved that question as well. I'm pretty comfortable with linked list at this point. I can solve linked list problem however you give me. So I solved that question as well, and I was very happy. I personally thought my intuition is always right. If I feel I'll get rejected, I'll get rejected mostly. But with HP, I thought I got selected because 4 out of 4 and first two questions pakka answer, 90% answer. I will not say pakka, I'll say 90% I answered those questions properly. Then she asked me a question about tree and she asked a question about try. And I made a mistake in answering the tree question. I would say that I missed few points. Apart from that, the interview went very smoothly and I asked her how my performance was after the interview, and she told me the next steps in the interview. She told me your technical knowledge is really good, you solved all those questions, but try to study about try data structure. I said yes, definitely I will study about try data structure. It's in my tutorial list. I'm solving the problems in a particular order, and I told how I'm doing, what are steps I'm doing to improve my coding skills. She told me okay, it's fine, and I'll let you know about the result. Guess what happened? Rejected. I was completely surprised because of that result. I felt so bad. I thought that was one of my best interview performance. I did tell her the approach every time, and I interacted with her a lot. Maybe I did not ask her. Maybe I missed few little things, but it was one of the best interview I had done in my opinion till date. But I was rejected, and I asked her what was my mistake, and she told me we found a profile that aligns with our company's interest. The candidate has more networking experience than you. So I said, yeah, okay, no problem. That's how I missed the HP opportunity. It happened in February. The entire luck was with me that day. Okay, what is the probability of getting 4 questions out of the 60 plus questions that you solved in LeetCode? Very minimal probability, right? So I personally felt I was very lucky, but I was rejected. And then what happened is I did not stop applying. I was applying continuously. Then I had interview with a company called Network Doctor. It's a small mid-sized firm. In that company, the first round was online assessment. I cleared that assessment. Then I had one video interview with my manager, and I cleared that round. He was asking me a few behavioral questions, and he was talking about my experience. Then they asked me to come in person. So I went in person to the office in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and it was a 1 hour technical assessment round where my tech lead and one more person was interviewing me. They had my resume and they were asking me a lot of questions, and they threw in behavioral questions in between. I personally felt after that interview that I communicated very good. I was answering very naturally. I did not stutter. I did not get confused. So I personally felt I did a really good job in that interview. I thought I'll get selected, and I was selected to the next round. And the next round was just a managerial round where they asked me a few basic things: what are your plans, how you are going to do, what are you expecting out of this job. Few behavioral questions. That's it, and I got the offer. If I want to assess myself in a network interview, I would say I was communicating pretty good, and I answered all the questions from my resume. I know everything in my resume in and out. I don't add things in my resume that I don't know about. Please don't do that mistake. There are students who do, like, they change their resume completely to get interview opportunity. It's okay to tweak your resume a little bit, but don't change your resume drastically. If your experience is in customer support, don't say you worked as data analyst. That is something that people might do here. You can tweak your resume here and there. You can add skills here and there. You can add keywords here and there, but don't completely change your resume. It would be my suggestion. It's up to you guys. I would say the important thing is to assess yourself about your progress, how you are improving, or what are the mistakes you have done, what are you learning from that. That is something that you have to look in your interviews. After that, I finished my summer internship. I got my fall CPT, and I'm doing my spring CPT as well. I interviewed with Goldman Sachs recently, and I cleared the first round again. It's a hackerrank assessment. I finished that assessment. I solved the 2 questions. It was pretty easy, I felt. I solved 2 questions in 30 minutes, and I got selected to the next round. The next one was a live interview. If you have watched my previous video, I told what are the mistakes that we should not do in live interview. I repeated the same mistakes again in Goldman Sachs interview. I was not communicating properly. I was stuttering. I was confused. I'll tell why those things happened. So first, they asked me 2 behavioral questions. I answered those questions properly. I will make a separate video on how to answer behavioral questions so that you will be able to properly answer behavioral questions. So I follow the star L method and I answered properly the two behavioral questions. Then she asked me the first coding question. It was a string question. I answered that question fluently and I solved that question. I gave the approach, I told her the approach, and then I solved that question. Then she asked me about time complexity and space complexity. I explained that. Then we went to the next question. I did that in order of n. The next question was completely very difficult question. I did not even have understand what the question was. I was asking her I was asking the interviewer multiple questions to understand what the question was. I thought it is a tree question, but it was a graph question. I told you in the start I am pretty bad in graph. I am trying to understand graph and dynamic programming. So I was not even able to figure out it was a graph question. I thought it was a tree question and I was writing code for tree. I gave the approach, I told her one approach and she told you do, and then she went on mute. I tried for 20 minutes, then I asked few questions to her. It went on like that. I was not able to solve that question and I was rejected. So I asked her how my performance was. She told me even for the first question you gave an approach, but that data structure could be avoided. You could have done little more optimization. You did not ask me how to optimize it further. I thought I did really good job in the first question, but I did not communicate back. I did not ask her how to optimize it because I thought it is the most optimized approach, but it is not. She had an approach that is more optimized than my approach. I did not even ask that. I thought it was the most optimized approach. Then what happened is she told in the second question you did not understand the question properly. You did ask questions, but you could have asked more questions and you could have asked guidance from me for the approach. And I personally thought it is more important to solve the question, but I did not communicate back properly with the interviewer. I made a mess out of that interview, I would say. I personally think I learned a lot from Goldman Sachs interview. I know I was rejected after completing the interview. As usual, I was rejected. And I personally thought the thing that I have learned from this interview is in the upcoming live interviews and in-person coding interviews, I should communicate back. I should ask a lot of questions before making an approach. Even if I make an approach, I should ask them about ways to optimize that approach. The interviewers are there to help us to solve the question. We all have a wrong thought process of they are trying to reject us, they are trying to help us. So we should ask help from them. Yes, it is important to solve the question, but again I would suggest you guys to ask a lot of questions, clarifying questions, and then solve that question. If you guys have any tips to improve myself in the upcoming coding interviews, please do share them in the comments below. It will be of great help to me. If you guys find this video useful, please do hit the like button and subscribe to Vlogworld. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and you guys have a great day.